Can I mix as good as Colt Capperrune? I used to run a studio out of my house. I've got a whole bunch of plugins. Seems like a pretty straightforward question, so let's take a quick detour and talk about it. So I guess the real question is, can an all-phase artist, an at-home or part-time musician, mix as well as a professional mixer like Colt Capperrune or David Gnozzi? And to be clear, I'm not trying to name jack either of these guys. I immensely respect the body of work and knowledge that they have freely provided to thousands of people out there who are trying to learn mixing and mastering. The best analogy that I could come up with is drywall, like finishing a room in your basement. And here's exactly how that goes down. So you get a couple of bids for the little room in your basement and you look at them and you're like, screw that. I can knock this out in a weekend. It's Thursday, so you start going over the materials you need, and then you realize that you don't have a truck. So I call my buddy Steve. He's got a swim meet all weekend. That's out. So you call Lowe's, and the earliest delivery date is next Wednesday. No big deal. We'll get it knocked out next weekend. So now you're already a week behind. That's okay. Next Saturday morning, you're in the garage, scoring rock, getting ready to go, and then you forget that your kids had a soccer tournament. So 2 weeks later, you're going to town, you're hanging rock when you realize that ceilings are actually a part of rooms too. So you're on your step stool and you're balancing this sheet on your head with your neck and your left hand, and you're just praying to God that you can find a joist before your shoulders give out. So sweet, you finish. This little joint over there, on one end it's awesome. It's a perfect little dime, and on the other end it's like a golf ball, but whatever. Once I tape and mud that, you're not going to be able to tell the difference anyway. So for the next 3 weeks in your spare time, you're taping and globbing on enough mud to finish an apartment complex, and you just can't get it to look right. So then you got to sand mounds of that shit off and do it over and over and over, but you're finished. Or I could have called my guy Mark, and here's how that would have went down. Him and his crew would have showed up Monday morning with all the materials they needed. They'd had that tiny little room rocked and hung by noon. They would have had it taped and the first coat done by 3 p.m. They would have come back Tuesday morning to hit the second coat and the ceiling texture. They would come back Wednesday morning to pick up their crap because they don't even need to sand, because by some magic voodoo, they put that stuff on so thin that they don't even have to. They would have had their stuff left and it would be done by noon on Wednesday. And not only that, those corners are so crisp. No matter how much mud I globbed on and sanded off, I will never be able to get my corners to look like that. In my mind, these things are so analogous. Sure, I can take a track that I produced and glob stuff onto it and try to fix things that should have never been broken in the first place, like those terrible joints. They're a lot like awfully recorded vocals or using terrible samples. No matter how much I try to slap plugins on things and do stuff, it's just never going to sound like it would if a professional did it. The answer to this question is no. Number one, this is their job. Just like you're an electrician or a nurse or a third grade teacher, this is what these guys do every single day for 40 hours a week and have been doing so for 20 years. Number two, because of this, they've developed an innate understanding of the fundamental principles of their craft. They can listen to something for 10 seconds and know from a macro level what needs to change, and not only that, what methods and actions they're going to take to get there. And number three are the tools and the environment that they have at their disposal to work in. While it's not as important as a lot of at-home people think, like these tools are going to magically fix your terrible mix, they are important when they're in the right hands. However, I totally understand, just like for me, that financially that's not an option for most people. So what does that mean? Does that mean you should quit, never try it, and give up? Absolutely not. It's actually the opposite of that. You should 100% try to learn the fundamental techniques, because struggling through this and learning by doing it over and over will be invaluable to you in the long run. It'll not only help you get better at mixing, but it'll really help you become a better producer When you finally start to understand that there's no magic EQ or compressor that can fix a terrible arrangement or awfully tracked instruments. Learn about gain staging, learn how to mic instruments and track vocals, learn the fundamentals of EQ and compression. Not only will it help you speak more intelligently to these people, but your so-so mixes, when provided to them, can be super helpful. They can glean from that what you're kind of going after, and then they can do it the right way. And after enough practice, if you do this over and over and over, at some point your mixes will be pretty passable. So to answer the original question, absolutely not, 100%. I cannot mix as well as David or Colt. But just like for me, it should not stop you from getting out there, trying your best, and continuing to learn so that you can make the best mixes that you can make. So get out there and take that first step.